For those of you who are new here, let me explain what we're doing right now. So this is the scale. It's called the Ask On scale that we use to rate how severe of an asshole somebody is in a story. So right now, OP, the original poster, is asking, am I the asshole for leaving the trip early after my friend embarrassed me at dinner? And we can say, yeah, you're the worst, which is Ask On 1, which is you're just a terrible human. You're a real piece of shit. Or we could go to the exact opposite end here and say NTA, which isn't on this scale. But if they are a little bit of an asshole, it could have done it differently, which is 4. Should have done it differently, which is 3. 2 is you definitely shouldn't have done it. And 1 is just you're the worst. So NTA exists. There's also ESH, which is everybody sucks here. And then we've got some modifiers too, but you'll learn about that as we go. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit, I think. Yes, it does. Look at that. And this one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Leaving the Trip Early After My Friend Embarrassed Me at Dinner? Last year, my friend Kelsey moved to a new city about 4 hours away. She invited me up to stay the weekend, and I said, sure. While planning, she asked what I wanted to do. I said, I don't mind. She could arrange whatever. As long as I can hang out with her, it's all good. The one thing I did plan for us was to go to a concert that Sunday afternoon that both of us were looking forward to. Saturday, we went out into the city and we were walking around. She'd point to various shops and I'd say, sure. We'd go in, look around. I thought we were having a good time. She did ask me a couple of times what I wanted to do, and I said I didn't know. If she knew of anything fun, let me know. But I also said just what we were doing was nice. All in all, we walked around, got a bite to eat, looked at a few shops, and then it was time for dinner with her family. We were supposed to meet them at a specific train station. However, they missed their train. Kelsey seemed irritated, but I figured it was due to that and worried that we'd miss our reservations. I was trying to assure her it'd be okay, even called the restaurant to say we'd be a little late. When her parents arrived, however, she went and sat next to her mom on the train, glaring at me the entire way to the restaurant. I was really confused as it was a 180. Okay, we'll red flag that. As OP is red flagging this, where she's like, As we were sitting down to eat, her mother asks what we did that day. Before I can speak, Kelsey says, nothing. She didn't know what she wanted to do. Okay. I think arranging the activities was on her, was it not? Get a red flag for that. I chuckled a little and was gonna say I had a good time when Kelsey interrupts and says, it's not cute. It was actually really annoying. I was taken aback because she said nothing about being annoyed all day. She was making little jabs at me for not coming up with ideas. Even her parents were side-eyeing her. It was pretty embarrassing. I really didn't know what to do. If she had said something earlier, we could have talked, but I didn't want to make things more awkward for her family. The whole dinner, she gave me nasty looks. Eventually, we part ways with her family and go back to my hotel. She's still irritated. I asked where this came from and why she didn't bring it up all day. She told me that it shouldn't be on her to plan this. I was taken aback because never once did she ask me to plan anything. Come morning, I reached out to her to ask what time we were leaving for the concert. She gave me an attitude. I finally said, you know what? I'll forward your ticket and sell mine. If you're still this irritated with me, I don't think we should go. Suddenly, she started crying, saying that I was being unfair, that I should just apologize. I said I did apologize at dinner and the hotel for not coming up with things to do, but I was also happy with what she did and she should have communicated better. I did as I promised and left. I was able to get a refund from the venue for my ticket. I got an early train back. Kelsey is still very upset with me and says she wasn't wrong. Am I the astronaut? Before we dive into this, relevant comments. 1 from OP. She invited me there for a weekend. I said yes, then said I had heard about a concert for one of our favorite bands playing in that area that Sunday. We should go. She agreed. And I contacted her not to ask what time we needed to go, but what time she wanted to leave because I was stopping by her place with the Uber to pick her up. So why would I show up randomly without her being ready? That's what I was calling to do. We already had lunch plans instigated by me for after the show. As you said, she did not communicate well. I was truly fine with what we were doing. I wish she had said something sooner if she wanted more, but she didn't. I'm not a mind reader. 2. I have acknowledged that my actions upset her, as stated in my post. I did apologize twice, saying I'm sorry I didn't realize I was being annoying, and said I wish I had known so I could have done better in the moment, and that I would next time. That being said, It'd be nice for her to also acknowledge that I couldn't read her mind and that she could have communicated better. I have reached out to her since. I texted her to let her know I got home safely, as she asked me to before I left, and asked how the concert was. She didn't respond. On Monday, I reached out and said I'd be willing to discuss it more so we could hear each other out. She said she did nothing wrong, so there's nothing to discuss. That's when I made this post, and since then, she's texted me about random things unrelated. So I'm not the one who can't admit that I didn't handle it right. As I said, I apologized, and I'm not looking to lose my friend. It doesn't even seem like that's happening as we're still talking. I would like to have one more conversation so I could share my side as well as how much her actions also hurt me, but it's typical for her to not want to hear that. I'm asking if I was the asshole for leaving, not denying that I annoyed her or anything. I'm also pointing out that she should have or could have communicated better, and regardless, it wasn't fair what she did to me, especially as she hasn't apologized, but I can't force her to. I haven't even asked her to. But given that she won't speak to me about it, I guess she feels there's nothing left to say and she can have the final word. Okay, that's the end. What do you think? This friend enjoys having you as, I'm not going to say a plaything, but it seems like you're more of an accessory. This friend does not value you as a person, seemingly, based on what we've seen and what we've heard from you so far. This is somebody who likes having someone to go do things with, but they don't really want to put any effort into anything. As discussed at the beginning of this post, you were coming to visit her because she asked you to, which would mean if she's hosting, planning things is generally on the host because they're hosting. And you had a pre-discussion about what you wanted to do, and you said, I'm fine with anything. If there's something fun, let me know. And so you guys kind of wandered around and had fun, but you spent time together, and that was all you cared about, as you stated, OP. You clearly communicated your desires and expectations. Your friend did not. What bothers me the most about all this bullshit is that now she's like, I didn't do anything wrong, so there's nothing to talk about. Let's talk about other random things instead. So she's just going to shove this thing down deep and then try to keep you in this seat as her plaything friend, her recess friend, so that she can still have the benefit that she had before from you, which is not a true friendship. It's not camaraderie. It is more of an accessory kind of approach here. It's not a real friend. I would be evaluating your entire friendship at this point, OP. It wouldn't just be this specific instance. And I think you wanting to zero in to figure out if you're an asshole for leaving is a mistake, because that's not the issue. You leaving is not the issue. Of course you were not the asshole for leaving. And since that's the specific question that you asked, we'll give you the specific answer. NTA. However, I would be evaluating this entire friendship and trying to figure out what in the hell is going on here. You know what I mean?
I feel like if you invite someone to come to like where you live, that you would be the one to show them things to do and not expect a person who doesn't live there to come to your city and have all like this plan of things to do. That's just like, that does not, the math ain't math in there. I'm like, if I invited someone to Joplin, I would have stuff set out. I would obviously want to take into account what they enjoy, but I would make the itinerary because I'm the one who knows my way around town. I'm the one who knows where things are. Like, I don't know. This girl just seems like she wants people to read her mind. And then when they don't read her mind, she wants to get pissed off about it, have a tantrum, and then say, oh, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so let's just move past it. And that to me is a very emotional, low level of like immaturity.
So OP says something in here that I think not rings true, but gives a little bit of context for how their friendship is anyway. And she said it's typical for her to not want to talk about something where she feels she did nothing wrong. So that's the end of the conversation. So she's just going to avoid the topic because she doesn't want to take any kind of accountability for anything. If this is the type of friend who wants to basically treat you like shit and then ignore the fact that they treated you like shit, which is, exactly what's happening here. And if that's the cycle, what advice would you give to OP about this friendship in general? A
16-year-old Candy Thunder would just take the abuse and try harder to do better for that person. A 37-year-old Candy Thunder would say, F off. I don't have time for this. Life is too short to try to have like meaningful conversations and spend meaningful time with somebody who just wants to make it drama, who just wants to make you feel like you've done something wrong. And I don't think anyone has time for that.
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. Actually, it's not a Reddit story. I lied. This one is directly from a follower. It is a follower-submitted story that you won't find anywhere else, I don't think. And this one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Pay My Friend Back? I, 30 female, took in my friend, let's say Darcy, for privacy reasons, 42 female, and her son, 10 male, back in early June, due to them getting evicted. I took them in without hesitation, even though I was not in a good place financially. I live in a 3-bedroom trailer, so there's not much room. I also have 3 kids, 8, 5, and 2, so taking in 2 more people was not easy. She took over my daughter's room while she lived with me. I am a stay-at-home mom. I would watch her son, take him to summer school, make sure he got his baths, make his meals, etc. Darcy would go to work from 6 to 2, Monday through Friday. When she would get off work, she rarely came home. She would go to her boyfriend's house. Oh no. Hold up. So your friend moves in with you. You're caring for her children. And when she gets off work, instead of coming home, she goes to hang out with her boyfriend. Doesn't come pick up her kids first. Doesn't do anything. Just goes, okay, that's strike one. She would always promise me and her son that she would be back in a couple of hours, but sometimes she wouldn't get home till 10 p.m. if she came home at all. Strike 2. She did this at least 4 to 5 times a week. Strike 3. She's out. Her son would cry all the time. She developed a pattern. She would always be going somewhere, then take her son once a week to make up for her always leaving. During the time she was at my house, she would just sit and play on her phone and eat a lot of snacks. We got along great, though. I thought I had gained a new best friend, and I was giving her the benefit of the doubt since she was a single mom. In June, she willingly paid me $200. At the beginning of July, she only gave me $30 and nothing else. Toward the end of July, I got a disconnect notice for my electric bill for $350. I asked her if she could help out with the bill, and she said yes. She gave me the $350. I thanked her immensely, and we left it at that. July 28th came around, and then came the last straw. She got off work that day. She said she would only be gone for 30 minutes. She didn't come back until 9 p.m. She gets off work at 2. My husband had a talk with her asking her what her kid did wrong to deserve her always leaving him. She, of course, didn't see it that way, got mad, packed up their stuff, and left. She then moved in with another guy she had also been seeing. A few days later, she texted me asking when I was going to pay her the $350 back. I said I wasn't going to, that it was never said that it was a loan. I thought that it was just to help with them staying with me and always watching her son from sun up till sundown since the beginning of June. A quick note, I do get some housing assistance and food stamps. She told me since I get housing assistance that rent should have been free for them and also food since I get food stamps. But you're not getting assistance for her family too. I told her that wasn't fair. I also ran out of food stamps due to all the extra food I'd had to buy for them, and that's not how life works. Bingo. Plus, there are many other bills to pay, internet, water, etc. She told me I owe her back the total amount of $530 she paid to stay with me because I didn't deserve the money anymore for being a shitty friend. Candy Thunder, I hope you guys could hear that, said, dirty bitch, just like that. I pointed out once again that it was all fair since they stayed with me for a while. I think what you mean, it's not fair. It is still nowhere near fair. She is getting the deal of a lifetime. Fair is a long way from this. I pointed out how she saved so much money staying with me, she would have shelled out much more elsewhere, not including the price of childcare these days. She fired back at me that watching her son should be used loosely because all I did was play Xbox, so he watched himself. I made her a list pointing out all the things I did for her son. Who was there when he cried for his mom all the time? Who made sure his laundry was done? Made sure he got baths? Made his meals? Bandaged his boo-boos? It wasn't her. She was too busy with her boyfriends. She ignored my list and still insisted that I pay her back because she didn't need parenting advice, and I didn't deserve the money because she should have been staying with me for free. And because it was never communicated that she had to pay me anything, saying that she willingly gave me money. I told her it was also never said that any of the money was a loan, so I shouldn't owe her anything. The next day, she texted and demanded at least $250 back, and I refused. She told me she wasn't able to go on her vacation now, and it was all my fault. I told her she saved money living with me, so it wasn't my fault she didn't have the money. After all, she only gave me $530 when my rent is $1,100. Now I'm ignoring her, and she's still harassing me. The other day, I found out she had tried to get a loan in her older daughter's name while also using my phone number so her daughter wouldn't find out. out. I'd gotten the text from the loan company sent to my phone. I sent the proof and told her daughter what she had done, and her daughter went to the police. Darcy was unable to get the loan, so the police aren't sure if they can do anything about it. She doesn't know I am the one who ratted her out yet. Her children deserve better than how she treats them. So I guess I'm asking 2 questions. Am I the astronaut for refusing to pay her back, and also for telling her daughter what she did? I'll update when I can and maybe put this on Reddit as well. P.S. Love your content. Watch y'all every day. Thanks so much for the love. This is not a friend. This is not a friend at all. This bizzo used and abused the hooey hell out of you. And then tried to mind you into believing that she had given you money as some kind of loan that you would give back. Also, like, I thought you were going to come in here and say, oh, she helped out with this electric bill and then she didn't end up staying long after. So she would be like, why would I be paying for electricity when I'm not going to be there using it? But that's not how electricity bills work. It's for what you already used. It all comes down to this. Tell her if she's got a problem with it, she can go talk to a lawyer. There's no documentation for anything. You let her stay with you. The arrangement was a handshake agreement. There's no way that she's going to be able to sue you for any of this. So tell her to try. This person sounds like a real piece of work. A real piece of work. I essentially used you as a free babysitter and a free place to stay. Add up the value of all the things that she got for free while she was staying with you. I say staying because most of the time it was just her kid staying there, not her staying there, which makes it even worse. This person does not get to be in your life. This person does not get to be connected with you. I know the dangerous part here is that you probably developed a stronger relationship with her kids than you did with her. And that sucks because now you're empathetic because you see these kids going through hell because their mom is a real piece of work and there's nothing you can do about it. There's truly nothing that you can do about it. But this person is not your friend. 0 is greater than -1. She's a succubus. Just cut her out of your life forever. No, you are not the astronaut for not paying her back. You are not the astronaut for letting her daughter know that she was committing fraud in her name. You are not the astronaut in this situation. You were extremely abused. You were taken advantage of hard here. And, my concern is that it went on for so long. And, we talk a lot about boundaries here, and boundaries have to be something where if they are hit or crossed, there's some kind of consequence involved, right? And every time that she stayed out much later than she said she was going to, she kept doing it because nothing ever happened as a consequence. There was no consequence ever attached to any of this. So if it had been hey, look, you stay out past X time when your kids are here one more time, and I'm sorry, but we're going to have to kick you out. Or I'm going to have to report you to freaking DFS or something. I don't know. There have to be some kind of consequence attached to that. Otherwise, it's not really a boundary. It's just a request. So someone like that, not that it would have mattered anyway. I mean, she cares more about her boyfriends, plural, than she does her kids. And that's sad. And these poor damn kids are going to end up in the same situation with just a different person all the time. And that's heartbreaking. This person does not get to be your friend. They don't get to be in your life. They don't get to enjoy the benefit of proximity because all they did was damage when they had it. Blah. Blah. That's where I'm at. Hello, it's Dusty Thunder once again with a cake story for you. Nom, 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 nom. I hope it's sweet and not one of those rank cakes. It's like a cake that's supposed to be tasty, but it's got some kind of nasty shiz inside. Is this a sweet cake story? Is it a feel-good cake story, like a tasty one? Or is it one that's just like bitter? Is this one of those bitter cakes? Title of this story is, Will I Be the Astronaut for Having a Backup Birthday Cake? Hello! So my birthday is on Wednesday. I like to have my party exactly on my birthday, if not within a day of it. For the past several years, I've been in charge of managing my birthday cake. I usually order from DQ and have them make a custom cake for me. This year, my friend asked me what kind of cake I wanted. I told them and mentioned that I usually take care of the birthday cake myself, but they said that I shouldn't have to take care of that responsibility of a cake since it's my birthday. I accepted, and I'm looking forward to the cake that they bring. However, a few things. My friend and their partner live almost 2 hours away. and they let me know that they would already be running late to the party because of some things they have to do. I'm anxious about them running super late since it's a weeknight and I'm having my party end at an earlier hour because people have work the next morning. I also know they've been having some personal issues going on and I'm worried about them overworking themselves and getting exhausted. I really appreciate their gesture of coming in from out of town and coming to see me for my birthday, but I'm anxious that they're going to burn themselves out. Also, since I'm used to being in charge of my own cake, this does throw off my routine a little bit. I am appreciative of someone else taking care of it for me, but with everything going on, I am anxious that they're not going to be able to make it with the cake. I have been considering having a backup cake just in case, and I already talked to my stepmother about the situation. She said that I would be the asshole and she'd be pissed if she made a cake for someone and came in from out of town just for them to have a backup cake. I need a reality check. Again, I'm just anxious about how things will pan out. I already have a lot of anxiety about how my birthday will go every year. So would I be the astronaut if I got a backup cake in the event my friends cannot make it in? I appreciate your feedback. NTA. Also, the number of times that OP said, I am anxious is like the biggest tell that we need. So let's wrap this context around it now. Let's say OP struggles with anxiety in general. We can tell that just from how this is written. It's not just about the birthday. This is a general thing. But at least OP recognizes and says, I am anxious about X. I am anxious about Y. I am anxious about Z. I'm generally anxious about this event in general. So that generally in general, I know that was redundant. I'm sorry. But recognizing that OP has a lot of anxiety around this, why would you choose to make someone who already struggles with this suffer up to and including the day of and even during part of their birthday and their birthday party? Why would you choose to punish someone like this? Was it stepmom? Is that what you said? I already talked to my stepmother about the situation and she said that I would be the asshole. No. And I would expect your stepmother, depending on how where in your growth she became part of the picture in your life, to understand your anxiety as well. But she does not. So I'm hoping that it was later in life and she wasn't part of like your upbringing. Otherwise was just completely in denial about the fact that you have anxiety to begin with. But you, like everybody struggles with anxiety to different degrees. You at least have the what's the word I'm looking for? You at least have the awareness to say this is going on and to manage it yourself and to do what you need to do to make sure that it doesn't take over and ruin your birthday. Your stepmother's like, nah, let that anxiety ruin everything. It'll be great. You'll have a blast. No, screw that. It's your birthday. She doesn't get a vote, first of all. Also, the fact that she knows that you have anxiety and is still willing to punish you through this is bullshit. NTA. Coffee, good point there. I would talk to the friend about your anxiety and see if they would be okay with your having a backup. I think it's a good plan. Candy Thunder, raising her hand here. What do you mean? Oh, there is a microphone over there. Would you look at that?
If I had this much anxiety over something, I would make the backup cake and like leave it in the car. And then if something happened, it's still there.
Can't do that because OP gets the cake from DQ, which means it's an ice cream cake. You got a deep freeze in the garage, OP. I think that.
Also, you're not helping someone if you take away their ability to choose. You're actually just forcing your opinion or your thing on them. And so I think, I don't know. I don't know what you gave.
It's bullshit. I do think, though, if these people are really your friends, and yes, you appreciate the gesture, I would say that. I greatly appreciate the gesture. You know me, I'm a really anxious person, and I'm freaking out that like something's going to happen because you guys are already so busy, or that, you're coming in from so far away. Are you guys okay with my having a backup cake here as well? It'll be there. We'll have 2 cakes for everybody to enjoy. If you guys are able to make it and everything goes as planned, great, bonus cake. Woo! If you can't make it, at least I'm not going to have like a freaking panic attack when it's 15 after and you're not there yet, right? I think if they're truly your friends, they'll understand, which is what really bugs me about your stepmom. She just doesn't understand or doesn't care to understand or what the ever. It's not okay. You do you on your birthday. You know yourself better than anybody else and you're already managing it. So do what makes you happy on your freaking birthday, okay? Do what makes you happy. The fact that everybody else is trying to punish you on your birthday is not cool. I understand the sentiment. I understand it is your friends that are offering to do this are offering to do this because they love you. But if they really do love you, they will understand. Yeah, plus those friends are already going to be late to the party, Brie. Yeah. Yeah, Brittany, a true friend would be like, more cake? Hell yeah. Just make sure you're not getting the same kind, so you've got some diversity there. Dry ice? There you go, Mel. But I don't think you have to hide it. I don't think you should have to hide it. It's your birthday. People need to accept you for who you truly are. After all, they're there to celebrate you, right? Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with the best of Redditor update story for you. We like these. Yes, we do. That's going to be the creepiest intro I've ever made for a story. Title of this story is, Am I the Astronaut for Telling My Wife She Is Having an Emotional Affair? Wife and I had a serious disagreement, and we're on Reddit asking strangers if we're right because it's not like we can get honest opinions from friends and family. I respect that. My wife cannot be alone with her thoughts for a second. She's always got to be doing something, keeping her hands busy, her mind busy. She never sits down for a minute. She's like a hummingbird who can never for a second be alone or relax. I describe myself as an introvert in an extroverted world with a very extroverted wife. She does not understand my need for time alone. I work for 10 to 12 hours a day talking to people and listening to them and directing them. I just want some time alone to unwind after work. She does not understand that. She decided to replace me with her friend because I wanted time to unwind. They spend almost every single day together. She's often not home because she's doing something with her, quotation marks, friend. And he is obviously a great-looking guy whose body would fit in Paris right now. As if that helps my worries with my marriage. I was waiting for him to say something about this guy being a pole vaulter. It just hasn't showed up yet. My wife and I got into an argument because I asked her to cut down on the time she's seeing this friend. She then retaliated that she'll see other friends instead. I told her she's having an emotional affair and she refused to accept it. It's all my fault that she's spending time with this friend. Am I the astronaut? I just want her to stop. I just want her to take a step back and realize this isn't healthy for our marriage. I'll read the comments for this part before we dive in on feedback for his opening here. Comments. One commenter says, yeah, if she's prioritizing the other man, it is an affair. If she fights you on seeing him because you are uncomfortable, it's an affair. By the limited info in your post, she is totally having, at the minimum, an emotional affair. More than likely, a physical one, too. If they are spending that much time together. Sorry, man. She just doesn't want you anymore. It's just a matter of time before she leaves you for this guy. He has won already. OP responds, that's what I needed to hear. She's giving all the classic cheater excuses too, just before anything. She says I don't pay any attention to her or that I use her for sex, and that's why she doesn't have a drive. The original poster, not OP, the original commenter that OP had responded to comes back and says this, yeah, she's blaming you for the affair. She doesn't have the guts to leave you for this guy. She's very openly, apparently, seeing him with you knowing, then blaming you for all your problems. She's looking for a way out to be with this guy. She doesn't want to work on the problems. She only wants to use them to get out. OP, I asked her if she wanted a divorce, and she said I could go file one if I cared, but I'm such a selfish, lazy ass, I wouldn't even do it. I want her to just admit it, but getting her to admit that she's doing anything wrong is like pulling teeth. And then that commenter coming back says, I'm sorry, man. She just wants you to do it. She cannot admit the truth. It's got to be tough in that house right now, especially seeing her leave every day to be with another man. That would kill me. Honestly, just pull the plug yourself. Let her blame you. This is only going to get worse, and she will end up fully destroying you before deciding to leave herself. Again, by that point, you will have been decimated. At least this way, you are leaving with a small piece of you intact. OP, yeah, I should, but divorce. It's just so hard, man. We've been married a long time. Divorce is just complicated, and it's a whole legal thing, and it's just too much for me to handle right now. The commenter comes back and says, 100%, it's way easy for me as a guy reading your story to offer opinions when I don't have to worry about the repercussions or do the hard work of putting those opinions into place. However, just ask yourself and ask her, do you love each other? What do you love about each other? Is it worth it to stay together? Put pros and cons down. Happiness, either way, whether you stay or go, will take work and will hurt. What do you want for your future? OP's response, I love her. She loves me too. She stuck with me when I had cancer, been by my side when things were tough, and good now. It's worth it as long as she didn't cheat physically. If she did, I'm out. Or if she's telling him she loves him, I can't handle that shit. Wow. Another commenter here. YTA, you just don't think men and women can be friends. She specifically said she'd hang out with other friends instead, and you for some reason still have an issue with it? Question mark. YTA, your wife told you she needed more interaction. You wouldn't give it to her. Now she made a friend, and you're insecure because he's an attractive man. You tell her to stop seeing this friend so much, so she says, okay, I'll make more friends. And you scream that she's having an affair and continue the fight. Deal with your insecurities, you selfish child. It's clear from your comments, you'll only accept the word of these absolute tools who agree with you. But JFC, you married an extroverted woman and then think you can keep her locked in your little introverted cage, and then if she dares to make friends, you call it cheating. Another commenter, I mean, if you spent any time with your wife or actually giving any kind of emotional intimacy in your relationship, then she wouldn't need to find a friend. You're controlling and a narcissist. I hope she leaves you ASAP. Another commenter, YTA, she said she would hang out with different friends, and you screamed emotional affair. She asked for your attention. You were too busy unwinding from work, so now she's made friends to fulfill her need for interaction. You have no emotional intelligence. I hope your friends tell her to divorce your ass. The judgment from Reddit at that point was YTA. Update 1 day later. I showed my wife the comments from my last post, and as I expected, she got pissed at me for misrepresenting the situation. I can't do anything right. I told her that everybody agreed she was having an emotional affair. I might have said things I didn't mean, like kicking her out, but she was having an affair in front of my face, and I didn't think she was in the wrong. She said I was disgusting for thinking that single men wouldn't want to be friends with a married woman. She also said that her excuses that I don't pay enough attention to her and that she doesn't want sex are totally legitimate. Wife's side of the story now. We ready for this? Ready for the wife's side, everybody? I'd really like to just lay into this guy right now, but I'm going to wait and see what wife says. Wife's side of the story. I am with my husband because I love him, not for any ulterior reasons. I saw a lot of comments that I was using him for money. We make roughly the same salary and we have similar savings and retirement accounts. I have made many sacrifices for my husband out of love. My husband and I have been married for 12 years, but over time he became more and more introverted. He hates people and wants to spend a lot of time alone to unwind. This is our normal schedule. My husband's work starts at 8:30 to 9 a.m. His job involves a lot of client interaction and team interaction. He could leave by 5:30 or 6 p.m., but often he chooses to stay alone until 8 p.m. because they get free dinner credit if they stay past 8. His team is not staying. He does not have extra work to do. He hates cooking, but he's also very choosy with meals. He comes home at 8:30 p.m. and immediately goes into his man cave to unwind. He'll be there for hours. He'll then come out at 11:30 p.m. We'll have our first conversation of the day, and then after 20 to 30 minutes, he'll want to have sex. We only have sex once a month or so because of this. On weekends, he'll spend the entire day either in bed or holed up in his man cave. He will never want to do anything that involves stepping out of the home except on rare occasions. He can be out for 2 hours and be the most wonderful man that I married, but by hour 3, he becomes downright curt to me and embarrassing. I can never have a beach day or a day at the park or a museum date or even a long dinner with him. On Sunday nights, he'll complete all the chores he let pile up into the week. My schedule is pretty straightforward. I get up and go to work before my husband is awake. I come home by 4 p.m. and wrap up any other work at home. I'll clean a bit, do laundry, and make dinner. My friend, who is just a very good friend, lives in the same apartment complex I do, is a great cook. Oh, I swear, I didn't think that said cook. I read that as a completely different word. It is cook. He's a great cook. He and I will often swap recipes and cook together. We end up eating dinner together a lot. We also go on a nice walk after dinner. I do spend more time with my friend because he is close by. He does not have any children, and he has a relatively free schedule and likes activities. I'll talk with my friends and family as well over FaceTime, right? Most of my family is physically far away, but I love them and I love catching up with them. Most of my friends have kids and are busy, so I treasure talking with them as well. On weekends, I'll do chores, make plans, and then catch up with my friends. This past weekend, I went to a friend's art submission at a state fair. I'll go grocery shopping or I'll drive 10 to 20 minutes for a scenic hike. We live in some of the most beautiful natural areas in the world, and I just love a 2 to 3 hour hike and reaching the peak of a small mountain. I like trying new foods. I like doing new things. I like being with people. I even like babysitting my friend's children. Now he wants me to cut off my friend because he says it's an emotional affair. We have never crossed any boundaries. I don't have any feelings for him, and I don't think he has any feelings for me. If he did, he has never once indicated that. But my husband also doesn't want me to talk on FaceTime with my friends and family because it irritates him. What? He doesn't want me to bring my friend around because they're loud and their kids are loud. What? I'm frustrated and tired of compromising when all I've done is compromise. I can't have dinner parties or host my family or bring friends home. I can't go on vacation because my husband won't go. He will never spend a full day with me. He threatened to kick me out yesterday because of the emotional affair he accused me of having. I'm tired of how he is treating me and how he refuses to take any responsibility for the failure of our marriage. Husband. So Reddit, there you have it. She's blaming everything on me. Am I the astronaut or is she? Here's a few comments. You guys may love each other, but I don't think you're compatible. If you are, you need counseling to get to a healthy place that both people are comfortable in. What you have now isn't working for either of you. Another commenter, to be honest, it sounds like your wife is just bored in a marriage where her husband has no interest in spending time with her or going out and doing activities as a couple. Where is the companionship in this marriage currently? Just because you tend to be introverted, does this mean your wife has to automatically adopt those same characteristics and do nothing at all with her free time? Go spend time with her on a consistent basis, and I bet she has way less time to hang out with her friend. Another comment, so straight up incompatible. So you separate. So she gets her same life without the pressure of on-demand sex. You get your same life, only you have to clean, do laundry, and cook, or pay for all that, and the sex too. Oh, okay, that's the end of that story here. So, to come up and give us some thoughts here, we have the lovely Candy Thunder.
I love when we get both sides of the story, which we don't do often. We just have to go on what we get. But now we have it. And to me, this guy is 100% emotionally unavailable, but yet gets mad at the fact that his wife is filling up her emotional cup outside of the marriage, because what else is she supposed to do? There's nothing left. Like, I'm an introvert, and I would never dream of putting another human through what he's doing. Like, he has nothing to give. He has no emotion to give, but yet she's not allowed to do anything. To me, this is just complete incompatibility.
But they've been married for what, 12 years? Is that what they said? Mm-hmm. They've been married for a long time, so they've made it work to this point. I wonder how long their schedule has been the way it is and how long he's settled into his grumpy old man ways, which is what I'm going to call it. He settled into something that's really comfortable for him. But here's the deal. Like, we both need unwind time. Mm-hmm. I would never make that harmful to our relationship, and neither would you.
No.
I would never stay late for no real good reason. Getting a dinner credit, come on. He's essentially saying that, number one, getting the dinner credit is worth more than time with you.
Yeah.
He's then saying his gaming time or whatever it is, his unwind time is worth more than his relationship with you. Mm-hmm. And then whatever he's doing later on is worth more than his relationship with you. He's just screaming that he doesn't value you over and over and over and over again. So of course you decided to fill up your social cup by engaging with other people. Here's the twist. If we were in this situation and I was doing this to you, and if we were in this situation, which we wouldn't be, but hypothetically, let's put ourselves there for just a minute. If we were in this kind of situation, you would not go spend this much time with a dude who was an attractive dude who lived in the same apartment complex that we did, because you would think about how that would affect me or how I would feel about it. She's been damaged enough to where she doesn't care if this affects him.
Exactly. And what I was going to say is replace alone time with alcohol. Because if he's choosing himself over her over and over and over again. So yeah, she tried for 5 years. She tried for 10 years. And at some point, your give a damn is gone. Like, you don't care anymore. And I'm not condoning cheating. I think she should have left. She should not had an emotional affair if she has cheated. I don't know.
Do you think this is an emotional affair? What she's having with the neighbor guy?
I would not do this. I would not hang out with a guy. But I also wouldn't stay in this relationship. So, right. But I would not do what she's doing. And I do think that she is wrong for that. But at the same time, like, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, humans thrive on companionship. Whether you think that you need it or not, you do need something to fill your cup. You do need some kind of connection from another human being. And if you're not getting that from your spouse, why are you in that relationship? Why does he want to be married to her? He may love her, but it doesn't sound like he likes her because he's choosing himself over her every single time. Like if and she offered to hang out with different friends, and maybe she's doing this to get at him. I don't know.
To try to wake his ass up.
At the same time, like why do you want to be married to someone that you don't like, that you don't want to spend time with, that you don't want to be with? Because I can be introverted to the fullest, like as an introvert or extrovert, I feel like you slide along the scale, like wherever you need to be, whatever's happening in your life right now. When I'm at my like alone time is a necessity. That alone time does not mean without you.
Boom.
That alone time
means away from other people.
Yes. Like you are in my circle. Like you are my person. I would not want to be without you. Like, and so for him to choose that over and over and over again feels like she's not good enough over and over and over again. So I tend to think that he sucks way more than she does.
But she does suck too.
I think what she's done is not healthy, but I think that after trying so hard for so long to break through whatever he's got going on, he needs therapy.
I think I know why he doesn't leave, because he's got a schedule that works for him, and to this point, he hasn't experienced any pain along with it.
He told us why he would leave.
Yeah,
why?
Exactly. It's like he got everything he wanted until this, and he has a big problem with this. So this is the first pain he's experiencing with it.
But why is she the only one who has to change? Why doesn't he have to change?
Agreed.
I think they should get divorced. But his reason for not getting divorced was because it's hard.
I know. Like, well,
really?
Yeah, it's like legal and stuff. Man, divorce, man. Divorce, man.
Not because I really love my wife and I want to be with her, and so I'm going to do things that are outside my comfort zone so that I can prove that I love this woman. I just don't want to get divorced because, it's going to take up time, and, I'd have to go to a courthouse or maybe to an attorney's office, and I don't like to step foot outside my house unless I'm going to my job where I'm going to spend 12 hours a day there and then come home and spend 12 hours a day by myself.
And then I got to spend, years convincing someone else I'm not an asshole to get them in this same position where I can only have to talk to them 30 minutes each day and still have sex with them. It's going to take time. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one from AITAH is titled, "Am I the Astronaut for Not Going to Sleep When My Boyfriend Wants Me To?" Oh boy. Me, female 23, and my boyfriend, male 25, have lived together for 4 years. He has work early in the morning, which means he goes to bed between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. He's had this schedule for the 4 years we've lived together, and until recently, I've went to bed with him at that time every night, even if I didn't want to. Since I don't have work until later in the day, I stay up late like 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. But him wanting me to lay down with him when he has to go to bed just means that I have to sit on my phone in bed for hours until I'm tired enough to fall asleep. I can't really do anything else in the room because he wakes up easy. Sometimes, if I was in the middle of doing something and it was time for him to go to bed, he would ask me to hurry up or stop doing it. I would just go with him, but it started getting upsetting when I would have my sister come visit for a few weeks or try to make plans with friends, and he would still ask me to go lay down with him. A year ago, we got into an argument about it because I was getting frustrated that my days have to end so early, even though there's still stuff I want to do. He says he falls asleep easier if I'm in bed with him. After the argument, he wouldn't really ask me to go to bed with him as much, but would just do a sad sigh if I was going to stay up and do stuff. Now, recently, he's been forcing himself to stay up if I say I'm going to stay up, which just makes me feel guilty, and then I just end up going to bed with him. He already only gets 6 hours of sleep on work nights because of his work schedule, so I feel bad. We also recently moved into a new house that has a bathroom connected and facing the bedroom with no door, so if the light is on in there, it lights up the room. I've been brushing my teeth and doing my skincare in the dark since we moved in, so I don't wake him. A few weeks ago, I needed the light on so I could tweeze my eyebrows really quickly because I had an event the next day and had forgotten to earlier in the day. He woke up 20 seconds later and walked in and said, "Seriously?" Really frustrated. I got upset because of his reaction and that I can't do things I want to in my own home. We got into an argument and he said he wasn't even that mad until he realized that I was mad about it. He said it was ridiculous that I was mad about him reacting that way. We ended up putting curtains to resolve it. I feel bad that his schedule is so hard and he probably just wants to spend time with me, but it's getting annoying laying in bed for hours before actually sleeping and not being able to do anything past 8 p.m. I tried to just go to sleep earlier, but it ends up making me a lot more tired during my workday if I wake up really early. I'm trying to understand how he feels, but it's getting frustrated. So, Am I the astronaut for not going to bed with him? Edit. While laying down with him for a little before bed is a good idea. We have a dog with a back injury that can't be alone, so I would have to carry him up and down the stairs twice, and I prefer not to do that any more than I have to because of risks of falling with him in my arms. Okay, well, damn it, that was gonna be my recommendation. Is the compromise here on your part could be, not should be, but could be. I'll lay down with you for 15 minutes until you pass out, and then I'm up and I'm gonna go do what I need to do. We have utilized that method before, and it does work. And then you get your time. Now the whole him waking really easy is a him problem, right? Really, all of this is a him problem, and you can't. He can't hold you hostage. He can't hold the entire house hostage because he's sleeping in one little area. If he wakes up easy because of sound, get some noise canceling headphones or a sound machine. Hatch Sleep has a really good one. We use it. It's great. Check it out. So, if he wakes up really easy because any kind of light intrusion wakes him, get a sleep mask. There are things he can do to hedge against the risk of him waking up because of X little things, but those are on him. He has to understand that he cannot hold you hostage and hold the entire space hostage because he's going to sleep. That's not how it works. It's extremely controlling. And the fact that you've gone along with it to this point, his whole if you're going to stay up, I'll stay up too. Yeah. How long are you going to be? That's a guilt trip. That's bullshit. That's just a play. He's using that against you. He's using that to further control you because he knows he can guilt you into thinking, oh, well, I don't want you to stay up. And if you're going to stay up because I'm staying up, then I'll just go to bed. He won. This is a him problem, though. If there's a door in the bathroom, close the bathroom door. They said it didn't have one. They got a curtain to solve that problem. But look, instead of trying to dampen the light at every source, dampen the light over his eyes. He can wear a sleep mask. He can get a sound machine. He can do a lot of things that eliminate these problems that are him problems. I get it. You're trying to be accommodating, but damn, it's a him thing. He's got to figure out how to do this. Heaven forbid you ever have to go on a trip or something. How's he going to sleep? How's he going to do it? Get him a body pillow and spray your perfume on it. I don't know. There's plenty of things that he can do to hedge against this, but man, it can't all be on you. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you, but this one's one of these. It's a spicy story! Muy caliente. All right, title of this story is, Am I the astronaut to divorce my husband and leave him with the kid after finding out I'm not biologically the mom? I can't believe my life has come to this. All I ever do is go out of my way to help others, but on the few occasions I need help, nobody ever comes through for me. I, 36 female, have been with my husband, 35 male, for a total of almost 10 years, married for 7. We had what I thought was my child by surrogate over 2 years ago, because after 4 years of trying to conceive with no success despite medical interventions, it turns out I am unable to carry a child to term. I have always wanted to be a mom. Devastated is an understatement regarding how I felt when I found out I have a medical condition that would make it nearly impossible to carry a baby to term. It was even more upsetting when I had to get major surgery to remove uterine growths with the hope to increase fertility, and complications during surgery warranted a partial hysterectomy involving removal of my uterus only. I still had my ovaries, so we started looking into cost of a surrogate. It is really expensive. My close friend since college, who'd already had 2 kids of her own, offered to serve as the surrogate for us to cut down on costs. After 2 disappointing IVF sessions that did not result in pregnancy, she became pregnant on the 3rd try and carried a boy to term for us. I was so happy and busy after the birth between being a mom and returning to work after a 4-week parental leave, so I didn't notice any warning signs. I should have noticed the red flags and warning signs early on, but I did not because I was so exhausted from working so much at my stressful job and 2 part-time jobs to cover most of the bills and anticipated medical and legal costs associated with this friend becoming our surrogate. I was the primary breadwinner. Damn. My friend and my husband started talking more, and I would sometimes come home from my weekend job to find her already hanging out at our house when my husband was there. I chalked it up as innocuous And it's good for her to know my husband better since she was in the process of hopefully carrying our child for us. I was grateful to have someone helping us have a child. I also thought it weird that our son has brown eyes when both of us have blue. Then I found out that while this is uncommon, it's possible sometimes due to many genes controlling eye color. Recently, it all came to a head when I took our son to a doctor's appointment and they did a metabolic panel and blood test, which showed that he had a blood type that is not biologically possible to have with me as his mother. He's B positive, I'm A positive, husband is O positive. Immediately, I started worrying it was the fertility clinic's fault and that they'd messed up and implanted the wrong embryo. I started lining up lawyer consultations to possibly sue the clinic and looked into having a DNA parentage test done. The test results show that I'm not the mother, but my husband still is the father. I was heartbroken and angrier than ever. Talked to lawyers about medical malpractice in the fertility clinic we'd used. Then my husband confessed that he'd slept with my friend, our surrogate, on a few different occasions during our struggle to have her get pregnant with our embryos. Holy shit. You know what? Okay, it's not the end, but I got to interject here because he waited until she had talked to multiple lawyers about suing the gosh heckin' IVF clinic before he's like, oh, I mean, it could be because it could be. I just thought of this. I forgot. But I just remembered it could be because, yeah. This means what I thought was our son conceived by IVF and carried with the surrogate isn't my son at all and was in fact conceived the old-fashioned way, which I can't ever do. Livid and absolutely broken at the same time doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I have been breaking down into crying spells over and over again about this. He claims he didn't ever think pregnancy could result because he pulled out, and he had always assumed that he was the reason from our earlier struggles to conceive, both before my hysterectomy and during the IVF insemination process with his friend. This friend, not his friend. I felt an immediate triple betrayal from what was supposed to be my husband, my friend, and now knowing my child isn't even really mine. I had such white-hot rage and delirium. I immediately left home and stayed at a hotel for almost a week before asking my parents to let me stay at home for a while. I admit I left our son with him. I'm now filing for divorce because he cheated and betrayed me in the worst possible way. I have also cut off my friendship with my friend, the surrogate, and feel afraid to trust anyone else now. I have seen a divorce lawyer to see about giving up my legal rights to this kid so I don't have to face such betrayal or owe child support. My husband and friend/surrogate admit they were wrong and keep apologizing, but also called me immature and heartless to just give up on my son like that. My parents also say I can't just give up on a kid like that when I went through so many legal and medical hoops to have him. When I told them I refused to stay in a cheater marriage and I'd rather adopt someday with a better, more trustworthy partner, they also told me that I was wrong and that maintaining my parental rights isn't much different than if I adopted outright. They said it isn't blood that makes a family. They are all about my divorcing my cheater husband, but keep telling me I'm making a mistake giving up my parental rights. Some of my other friends agree with what I'm doing. A few admitted they weren't big enough to swallow pride and care for an affair baby, or to see daily reminders of my friend/surrogate's betrayal every time I looked at her son. I just want a clean break and a fresh start. I'm also looking at relocating several states away. AITA to give up my parental rights in the divorce because a kid I paid a lot of money to have, born by surrogacy, isn't biologically mine at all, but the surrogate. TLDR. I recently found out that a son that my husband and I had born to a surrogate, since I'm infertile, is biologically my husband's kid but not mine. My husband confessed that he slept with my friend who served as surrogate during the long IVF process, so the kid is actually conceived of an affair between my husband and friend/surrogate. I'm filing for divorce and looking to give up my parental rights so I can move away to get a clean break from the whole situation without having to owe child support for a kid that's not mine. Some friends agree with my plan, but my husband and parents think I'm in the wrong to just cut off a kid I raised for 2 years. Okay, so that's a part I've been waiting for. It's also the end of the story. This kid's 2? This kid's 2 years old? I mean, look, if this child was like still a wee little baby, and there's only, I understand what you're feeling right now, but this kid's 2. And there's been a humanity switch flipped because the only way that you could not, like, it doesn't matter. Like right now, Navy's 3. I don't care. I don't care, who Navy, if we found out someday that she was born by someone else and, like IVF messed up, it wouldn't matter because she's our daughter and we love her. So to not have that part after 2 years is deeply concerning. Maybe it's like the trauma has just flipped the humanity switch and now like that part hasn't set in yet. Maybe reality hasn't set in yet, but it's enough for her to walk away right now, which is deeply concerning. I think if he was much younger, if this kid was much younger, my question would be, look, is the friend/surrogate interested in becoming mother figure? Is she already kind of moving in that direction? Like, what's the story there? Because if you kept this up, now knowing what you know, there is the risk that someday she's like, "Hi, I'm actually mommy," and tries to just boot you out and then take your husband, and then you're in a freaking mess, right? I mean, you've got, I don't know. That's the only way where I could look at this and be like, that sort of makes sense. And that would be if this baby was like brand spanking new. 2 years old, I don't understand. I don't understand how someone could be capable of that. I understand you've been hurt, but I don't understand like how the bond that you have built with your child after 2 years isn't strong enough to prevent this from happening. That's concerning. I know the baby's a constant reminder of the betrayal, but for the past 2 years, he hasn't been. And for the past 2 years, OP has been this child's mom, and like that it doesn't just go away. You don't flip a switch and that all just disappears. Whether OP wants to believe that or not, it doesn't work like it doesn't just disappear. I understand there's going to be a struggle. I understand it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying that it is going to be easy, but it's also not impossible for a child that you already love to keep loving them in spite of where they came from. It's tough. I mean, I understand this is a Kobayashi Maru, right? It's a lose-lose. There's no situation where OP wins here at all. I mean, if she walks, she destroys this bond, and I think this is one of those Horcrux moments where you actually split your soul. Either way, like you get a fracture in your soul, regardless of what you do here. If you walk away from this child that you spent 2 years being a mother to, you get a fracture in your soul. If you stay and you get the constant reminder of this every day for the rest of your life, you get a fracture in your soul for that too. There's no win here. This is Kobayashi Maru for OP. I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk away. I just couldn't freaking do it. I understand why she's at where she's at. Yeah, adopting a baby is very different from raising your husband's affair baby. And if that was something she found out way early on, I could understand this a lot. It's the 2 years thing where I'm like, damn, and it's not a sunk cost fallacy because it's more about the bond strength after that time, not the amount of time that has been invested here. We're checking on some additional comments here. Okay, well, let's go and read this one. We have freshly found a comment in the story here. Here's a comment from OP. He actually had the audacity to claim that my depression and obsession with pregnancy and having a kid pushed him away. He also said he felt deprived of affection because I was working so much, even though I was the primary breadwinner and the only responsible spouse keeping up with the bills. If I hadn't taken on extra work, he would not have stepped up, and the loan I took out to pay for uncovered medical expenses, especially IVF, would have gone unpaid. I don't know for sure if it was unprotected or not. I'm assuming it was, but he did make a ridiculous statement that he didn't think anything like this would happen because he thought maybe he was part of the problem with our lack of conception. It is absolutely ridiculous to say this because if he was the problem causing the infertility, then they would have never been able to form viable embryos from him and I. I think he said this as a lame excuse. Anyone with half a brain would know not to have relations with a surrogate during the IVF wait period, and more importantly, why would any respectful husband want to anyway? Another comment here says, NTA, leave your husband, friend, and kid. They can play family themselves since that is clearly what they wanted when they started. They can take care of the kid. You can take care of you first. OP's response, there's a real chance that my husband might actually end up becoming a single dad. I don't know how or if the supposed friend who is supposed to be our surrogate would have. She already has 2 kids from a previous relationship who are older. She said before that she was done having kids of her own, which is why she was okay with serving as a surrogate since it would mean helping out, but not having to take responsibility of raising a kid. I don't know how she feels really because I haven't talked to her and I do not want to talk to her. The one time I contacted her after my husband confessed, I admit I exploded on her. So did he, by the way. And she hung up on me a few minutes later. Okay. Oh, he's got one more comment. The commenter says, you raised that baby though. Don't you have some love for it? I guess you're mad, but don't take it out on the child. That's so sad. It loves you, and you're the only mommy it knows. Edit to clarify, I think your NTA and your husband and friend are huge pieces of shit. It's just a sad situation. I can't help but think of the baby. I'm a softie. I totally get where you're coming from, though. Do what's best for you. OP's response, I keep vacillating back and forth on this. I have grown to love him, but at the same time, it angers me so much looking at him and seeing the resemblance of the girl who was supposed to be my friend. I mentioned before that his eyes are brown. Now that I know the truth, I keep noticing more and more resemblances. I worry that I will take my anger out on him. I don't feel I'm the safest person to be around him right now with everything going on. Okay, I understand it. I get it. I understand everything that she's saying, but the most important part of that statement to me is right now. I understand you feel that way right now. I get that. It is, but this is a forever decision. This is not a right now decision. This is a forever decision. It's terrible. And it's a Kobayashi Maru. Again, this is a lose-lose. There is no win for OP here. It is what would keep me from being able to walk away from this child is the right now part of that, knowing that yeah. But to her point, not the right now, but the forever part of it is that resentment based on appearance that gets triggered every time she looks at him. Yeah, she could end up treating him like shit uncontrollably. I don't know. It's a Kobayashi Maru. I don't think there is no win. There is no right decision here. There is everything is. That's where it's at. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.